Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. It seems as though Prince Charles will be cutting the apron strings, so to speak, because it has been predicted that his income will be going down, and this is all related to the pandemic. A lot of journalists and newspaper outlets have run this story regarding Meghan and Harry's funding soon to be cut by Prince Charles because he himself will not be able to supply them with as much wealth. Now, we know that Meghan and Harry do have expensive tastes. That's the word for it. They like to do things big. They like to live in the best places, travel in the most luxurious, extravagant way. Whereas contrary to them, William and Kate, they don't mind flying commercial, sharing an EasyJet flight to Scotland or anywhere else that they need to go. They will also allow their children to fly commercial. They don't require and demand as much luxury. They are simply content to sit alongside the public, which is a beautiful thing in today's modern age, to see two public figures that are extremely in touch with the everyday people. They are worth the tax pounds that they receive because they are spending responsibly. They are thinking in an eco-friendly way. They travel in an eco-friendly way. And they are considerate of everyone else on the planet and everyone else around them. We have to share this planet. We have to love this planet. And actions speak louder than words. Everyone knows that. This article starts with Prince Charles to struggle to fund Harry and Meghan as his annual income takes a major cut. Prince Charles will reportedly fund Meghan Markle and Harry's new life using his own investment income. However, his annual funds are set to take a major blow as a result of the pandemic. Interest rates are down now. The stock market has significantly hit. It's taken a major cut. People's investments aren't yielding what they was yielding pre-pandemic days. If you are in the UK, most people are aware that our economy has shrunk by 21 or 22%. We've all taken a major hit. Businesses have lost money. Even on Facebook, and I'm going to talk about Facebook in another video because they have their own drama going on, but advertising budgets were majorly cut, so companies had already stopped advertising on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, all these platforms, for months now. It all stopped. The money is just not flowing around. People were closing their trades earlier, I imagine, selling off their stocks, because that's what happens. We always go into a survival scarcity kind of mode when the economy is unstable and you don't know what's going on. Like the 2008 recession, no one knew what was going on, so people were selling their stocks, people's houses started to get foreclosed on in America, and all of these awful things that come with economic uncertainty. And this has affected Prince Charles. Now, under the Duchy of Cornwall, allegedly, he has a very extensive investment portfolio, and that has shrunk. They don't know how much by, but it is obviously going to shrink because everyone else's has. He then will not have the same return on investment that he would have had we not gone through this pandemic, which means that he won't have as much money to share with Meghan and Harry. He also does fund partially William and Kate with this same pot of money. That is going to have an impact on Meghan and Harry's lifestyle. I think that this is indirectly a good thing. We all are in agreement that he should not have been funding these two grown adults, have been disrespectful to the British taxpayer in their actions. I think it's great. I think it's great news because they are finally going to really understand the dexterity of what they have chosen to do with their lives. How much of an impact it has on them directly, I don't know. He could still continue, even though he has less money to play with, to chuck money at this pair, who, in my opinion, are very ungrateful for the position that they have found themselves in life. But that's just my opinion. I'm going to carry on. The Prince of Wales' annual income from the Duchy of Cornwall has risen by nearly 3% to 22.2 million. But it is expected to fall by a significant amount next year due to the pandemic. According to the Daily Mail, Charles's friends have warned the former Duke and Duchess of Sussex that the cash is not inexhaustible. So there is a limit. Charles is going to have to put his foot down. As heir to the throne, Prince Charles is entitled to the surplus generated by the duchy's vast portfolio of land, buildings, and financial investments. So it seems that the Duchy of Cornwall is comprised of land, buildings, farmland, you name it. Maybe there's some hotels in there. It's going to shrink, and that puts Meghan and Harry in a very awkward position, doesn't it? However, rather than using the revenue from the Duchy of Cornwall estate, the Prince of Wales will use his own private funds to help Harry and Meghan with their new life in North America. Now, a source close to Prince Charles has warned this is not an inexhaustible sum of money. He will seek to review the couple's financial arrangements in a year. The Queen is also said to be anxious the couple could use their royal credentials to line their pockets and will be watching them closely. In 2019 to 2020, the Prince's annual private income from the hereditary estate rose by £617,000, which is 2.9%, from 21,627,000 in 2018 to 2019 to £22,244,000. That's a big jump, but we know that Meghan and Harry can spend that in a month. Okay, close to it. Charles uses his duchy income to pay for his official duties, his London office and charitable work. He also funds the public duties of William and Kate and some of their private costs also. But we know that William and Kate are very conservative. They don't fly private if it's unnecessary. They will fly commercial. Kate reuses clothes. They're conservative in their ways, so their expenses are controllable. They're in control. Meghan and Harry, on the other hand, not so much. He will have done the same for the Sussexes from his income in 2019 to 2020. Harry and Meghan quit as senior royals in March at the end of the financial year. At the time, it was confirmed Charles would continue to make private financial contributions to the Sussexes as they began their new life in the US. In the Duchy's annual report published on Thursday, Alistair Martin, the secretary and keeper of the records, predicted a major drop in income for Charles next year. The lockdown resulting from COVID was only in place for 1 week of the financial year that this report covers, he said. There is therefore very limited financial impact on these results. As to 2020 to 2021, it is too early in the new financial year to be able to say with any confidence what the impact on our financial performance will be. And that is true, because they have to see whether people are going to return back to their pre-pandemic spending habits and their pre-pandemic trading habits and traveling habits and all of these things. We will change the way in which we travel, the way in which we spend, the things we do, the life choices and the work choices we make will be impacted, and that will affect financial portfolios like the Duchy of Cornwall. But despite having a particularly well-diversified asset base, We fully expect the revenue surplus to be down by a significant amount, in large part due to our trading enterprises being closed. And yet they had to stop that, so that's going to affect it. Republic, which campaigns for an elected head of state, called for the government to take control of the estate and stop the prince keeping the surplus. Graham Smith, chief executive of the pressure group, said there is simply no justification for this ludicrous amount of money to be thrown at Charles when public services are stretched and local communities are impacted by the pandemic. It's time the duchy was rolled back into the Crown estate and its income served the British people, not one prince. He added, "We do not owe Charles a living. This nonsense has to stop. The total worth of the duchy's assets, amounting to more than £1 billion, has dropped by nearly £29 million. But much of the decrease is linked to valuation of the duchy's investment property at the end of March amid the COVID outbreak." We don't know what's going to happen. I personally hope that it results in Charles reviewing how much money Meghan and Harry are currently blowing in the US. They've chosen to live a very extravagant life. They've chosen to not reside in Frogmore, which is a perfectly adequate, beautiful home. Who knows what's going to happen? I'll be back with another video. Bye, guys.